Sometimes it's good to take a step back. Sometimes I think, especially with modern collecting, there's no longer a finite amount of figures, is there? Like when Kenner had its run from 1978 to 1985, yeah, there were a lot of figures, a lot of ships, a lot of play sets. Fantastic. Everything you could want as a kid growing up. We're not kids anymore. This is going to sound like a downer sort of video, so I'm going to try and put in some positives here because I do love this hobby. But it does bring about anxiety. The prime example, and I have bleated on about it on other videos. Let's take the sail barge. I remember that time. I was following the updates. When the barge was in that sort of stage of, oh, you can back this barge now. And I remember Patrick saying, we're going to get this out to the rest of the world. You will have an opportunity to back this barge. In the UK, there was what, 4-hour window, like 10-minute window. Sorry, for about 400 units went up for sale up for pre-order. Sorry, on eBay with Hasbro. It was a very strange collaboration. The fact that it really was you have to buy this or pre-order this now, as in, if you don't do it in this 10-minute window, you will miss out. And I think that's the first time that's the first time since they brought the vintage collection back, and since I started collecting more with a bit more financial backing behind it. That was the first time I thought, do you know what? No, I'm not going to succumb to this. I want to collect on my own terms. And it's not that I don't want to back the barge, because I did want to back the barge. If you'd have given us that 4-week window or whatever it was with like the rest, like America, absolutely I'd have done it. Yeah, that didn't sit right with me, and it's not happened too many other times. It has happened since, and certainly things like Hasbro Pulse, when we have such a great fan channel pre-order sort of process in this country. Hasbro Pulse get involved in the UK, and suddenly things are exclusive to Hasbro Pulse. And again, if you don't pre-order them, sometimes in that day or in the couple of hours after it's gone live, you miss out. That's not what collecting's about for me. This hobby should be for all, and I know there's different entry points to it, but everyone should get a crack at obtaining whatever it is that's going on sale. So yeah, that's where addiction comes in. For me, it's like fear of missing out. Well, that's an addiction, isn't it? Like, if you order something because you're afraid that you'll miss out, I'm not criticizing. Like, I am addicted to this hobby, and I'm trying not to be. I'm trying to collect in a way that is on my terms, and a lot of the time you will feel like it's on your terms. If something comes up for pre-order, or if they release something and you don't like it, don't buy it. No one's forcing you to buy this stuff. No one's forcing you to order this stuff. But when you see a history of things going up for sale and then immediately selling out, and then the aftermarket value rising, that's where you can feel forced into getting something for fear of missing out. And that's a dangerous path, I think, as a collector, as a fan, and for something that's supposed to be a hobby. If you're watching still by this point, thank you so much. If you do like what you're seeing right now, if you can relate, drop a comment below. If any of this is ringing true with you, or if you find that you collect differently, or you don't see it an issue, if you might just have the funds that you can just throw at this hobby, all day long. Likewise, you might just not be in this hobby because you can't afford it. Like, even the cost of an action figure is expensive. I do watch what I spend each month, and there's certain months where maybe a HasLab gets released, or a big playset, or a big vehicle, and that sends your monthly spend up. I think one of the things that just got me to the edge recently, and isn't the prompt for this video, it's just another another point which led me to thinking this is probably a good time to share my thoughts on it. It was the recent May the 4th. Disney store, Disney themselves had their own exclusive, the Star Speeder, and I didn't want to miss my opportunity this time. They did a very, very limited amount last year or the year before, which obviously sold out in minutes, and this was kind of no exception. The Star Speeder they released this year, the pre-order window, I don't know where it went. I mean, it came and went. I was lucky enough to get in there and order one, but that was also a chunk of money that I hadn't budgeted for in that month. So where I know that I might spend X amount on Star Wars figures in a month, it's generally because it's sort of Hasbro related. But when you get Disney coming in on the mix as well, and they do those great 4-packs of droids. They do a lot of merch in themselves for the 3 3/4 line. And again, I'm purely talking 3 3/4 action figure line. Black Series collectors probably have a similar budget to 3 3/4 inch. The thing with 3 3/4 inch, you've also got the retro collection. You've got third-party creators doing wonderful Kenner-inspired figures and playsets. And again, if I had the budget for that, if maybe I had a bit more room, or if I wasn't collecting modern, I would certainly be going down that route. After that May the 4th week, after all those pre-orders were done, I felt like I had really, really spent like over and above my limit for not just that month, but probably for that first few months of the year. I was thinking, this is now a hobby that is costing me more money than I'm prepared to pay now. And that was upsetting, I think, in a way, like to know that this hobby is becoming a little out of reach, but more that I'm going to have to reevaluate what I spend my money on each month in order to accommodate this collection. Do I cut other things out? Or do I cut this out so I can do other things? And it's not a case of being able to afford my bills or eat or whatever. Once that May 4th was over and done with, and I knew I had pre-orders in May, I knew I had figures arriving in May, I thought, no, right, for the month of June, don't just go after figures here, there and everywhere just because you can afford it, or just because you can fill a gap in your collection. Even in a month where I said, no, I'm going without buying action figures. 1 month, 4 weeks. Like, shouldn't be that hard. It shouldn't be that hard. And this is where I think that the hobby has turned into addiction, because I still couldn't do it. I still couldn't actually go a full month without picking something up. It was this Jodner Narwood figure, because I never bought it when it went on sale at the time. And during the month of June, Amazon have it on sale for £5. Even just a £5 purchase was still something I couldn't say no to. So I kind of let myself down a bit there. I don't think I'm trying to go dry for July. I am going to continue to hold back a little bit over the summer, just because I know that there's still pre-orders that are due to come. What makes all this a hobby? Because I think it is a hobby. Collecting in itself isn't necessarily a hobby, but I think what goes with it, I think that's what makes the hobby. For me, being able to curate displays, being able to share this with a community, and get ideas from them, like see their displays or see what they're doing with their figures. The toy photography is fantastic, and that is a hobby in itself, the photography. There's people that do customized work, 3D printed work. If I was a bit more handy or crafty, I probably would do something like that. I mean, one of my earliest memories, again, going back to my childhood, me and my dad made a Death Star out of, it must have been in the catalogue somewhere. It was a 3-tier Death Star with an elevator going through the middle. We spray painted it silver, black elevator. It looked really cool, and it was somewhere that I could actually have a lot of my figures. It was a base. It was something that I could play with. But that's hobby related. That's something that we did together, like creating this thing that didn't exist before. The whole buying of toys, no, that probably isn't a hobby. The hobby's the stuff that comes with it. Being part of a community online, having a YouTube channel, sharing my thoughts with you guys, how we all interact, how we all play, and we all have different opinions on things. That's what I love about the hobby. So there's plenty of things to be positive about with Star Wars action figure collecting. Hasbro are throwing more money at it than they have done in a long time. The fact that they're giving us HasLab after HasLab, big ships, big play sets, the original 96, we're up to well over 350 of these card backs now, like numbering. And numbering is another part of the collecting side of things. Once you start numbering something, it can be one of those tools to keep people collect them all. Going back to those original Kenner card backs, in gambling terms, they say when the fun stops, stop. And I think that's true of the hobby that we're in at the moment as well. There are times throughout the year, each year, I think, since I've been back into collecting in a bigger way, at least once a year, I would say, where it stops being fun. And I'm not saying it's like this all year round. I do enjoy what I'm doing. The reason I'm making this video is to share my experiences with you guys. It's not to say everyone feels this way. It's not to say you guys shouldn't collect anymore, or you guys should find something else to do with your lives more meaningful. It's nothing about that. I love what we do. I love the collection. I don't want it to stop anytime soon. But there are times throughout the year where I think this just isn't fun. I will generally confide with someone else who collects as well, with a close friend maybe that's also in the same sort of not predicament, but probably collects either to the same level or has done to the same level, or who just understands what it's like to be a collector. I used to collect football programs, and I'd always collect a program from the game that I went to, but I'd also buy all the programs from the games that I'd missed. So by the end of the year, I've got a full complete season of programs. There's less meaning to those games that I didn't go to. So yeah, sort of cut back on just collect a program from a game that you go to, because that's a souvenir of something that you've done. You've been there, like there's a memory there. I don't think you can quite relate that to action figure collecting, or maybe you can. Maybe, again, goes back to those original Kenner figures. That's what you grew up with as a kid, so that might be the line that you want to collect as an adult. And I get that, like recreating your childhood, or because maybe you sold those figures, or those figures were sold on your behalf by your parents, and you want to get them back. You want your childhood back. I totally get that. From modern collecting, that's an extension of all that, isn't it? It's like, for me, a big part of modern collecting is the original trilogy still. But as you can see from this HasLab back here, not original trilogy. And these things take up space. These things take up a lot of space. And I think one of the things in the community this year was people who had pre-ordered this. That's a lot of shelf space. I'm filming this camera is on top of my Legacy Millennium Falcon right now, which also takes up the similar sort of amount of space. And when the HasLab Cantina comes, where's that going to go? So to sum up, like, what does collecting look like for me going forward? Like for the rest of this year, but not just the rest of 2025, but into 2026, because we've got more content coming from Disney. For me, I still want to collect. Patience is a big thing for me in collecting. It has been anyway. Certainly the stuff that I missed out on, I'm quite happy to be patient in obtaining those things. I just don't want to fall into that trap of having, Hasbro having me on tap, because I think for well over a year they did have me on tap. There was, when you're paying out for a HasLab, when you're paying out for big play sets, big vehicles, waves coming every other month, So it's something that I was a little bit wary of. We all like different things about Star Wars, and the best thing about Star Wars for me is how weird, wild, and wonderful it all is. There's something for everyone in Star Wars. I got into it from such an early age, but my older sister was also into Star Wars as well, and her first figure was a Gamorrean guard. Like, you don't get much weirder than that. And yeah, I mean, one of the things that really fueled my action figure collection was my parents' friend Janice, who very kindly turned up one day with a Millennium Falcon. This was the best thing ever. Like, I've still got the box. It's incredibly tatty. I want to do a restoration on it. Again, that comes back to the hobby, restoring things, and this is a double-edged sword. This is where the hobby side of things can have a negative connotation as well. I want to restore an original Kenner box for my Millennium Falcon. That is my childhood Millennium Falcon. All original parts, but I do want to restore the box. I want to try and get it in like maybe like a DC deflector, plastic case for it, but I want to try and get it nice and neat. I've seen videos from Toy Polloi. He's done it with some boxes, and I think they would look really good. It's not worth a lot. A tatty old box isn't worth a lot, but it's my childhood box for my childhood Millennium Falcon, which I've still got, and I would like to restore that, because again, it's part of the hobby. That's part of what will connect me back to my childhood, I think. So that's what I want to do going forward. If you want to see that in a video, then comment below, because maybe I'll do that as part of my content. But yeah, let me know what you think about the hobby. Do you think it is a hobby? Are you generally a collector, or are you a fan who just likes to have a small collection of figures? Do you have to have everything that Hasbro puts out? Are you even to the point where you get two of everything, like boxed and loose, or are you just purely a box collector? I'm Dave the Dead. Thank you for watching. If you like what you have seen, please drop a like, leave a comment below. We've all got experiences, of the hobby, collecting, the anxiety, the frustration, fear of missing out, addiction. I'm sure that can relate to you guys on some sort of level, so please leave your thoughts below. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so, and if you want to see more content like this where I'm speaking in front of a camera, then maybe check out this video where I share my top 3 frustrating things about my collection room. I'm Dave the Dead. I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.